Hi, and welcome to this Astrology Weekly, week number 28. My name is Patricia Grootjans. I'm a quantum healer and astrologer. And today we're going to look at week 28, which goes from July 7 until July 13. And this is really a fascinating week. So let's dive in. Okay, here we see the chart of this week, and this week starts with July 7. And on this very day of July 7, we already have a major transit happening. Because on this day, Uranus will be moving into the sign of Gemini. Gemini, being an air sign, has got to do with communication, with relationships, with our network, and how we interact with other people communicatively. Now, Uranus is the planet that shows our need for awakening. It shows how we deal with the sudden insights, our intuition, but also how we strive for freedom, independence, and how we can pick up information from the quantum field. Uranus is therefore a very important planet, not only for the collective, but also for quantum healers, because Uranus is the planet of awakening and working with our consciousness. Okay, what happens when Uranus moves into the air sign of Gemini? Uranus often shows where we can expect the sudden changes, like big shifts and unexpected changes and new inventions. And I feel that in the next 7 years, because the cycle of Uranus takes about 84 years to be completed throughout the zodiac, and it stays in one sign for 7 to 12 years, meaning that the next 7 to 12 years we can expect changes around communication. And I feel that there may be coming some kind of inventions that affect how we communicate. I feel that this could be different than computers or telephones. Maybe there will be some kind of invention that will help us to communicate directly, brain to brain, without having to communicate verbally or vocally. Now, suppose if something like that would happen, it would be like telepathy, wouldn't it? I also feel that it doesn't have to be only about technical invention, because Uranus has got to do with technical inventions. However, because it also relates to consciousness, it could also be that humanity will start to develop more and more their abilities around telepathy. Now, I find it kind of interesting that lately there has been a beautiful podcast about the telepathy papers. I think I've mentioned it before. And the beautiful Veda Austin, our water researcher, has started to work with the people from the telepathy papers. Now, um, I feel what is being mentioned in this podcast is that many people who are autistic, that they appear to be communicating telepathy, telepathically. I'm sorry, that's such a difficult word. Um, and I think this is something that will change our perspective on both autism, but also on how people can communicate directly without using a vocal language. And this development, this discovery is very much in line with Uranus moving into Gemini. So I think we can expect changes, developments that can go very quickly and very huge, like as if a big shift in consciousness, but a big shift in how we use our brain and how we use communication. This is something that I feel that we can expect the coming years. So this is very important. Now, because Uranus is such a slow planet, it is what we call a generational planet. It gives information about the collective changes. However, when Uranus changes into a certain house in your personal chart, it can show you where you can find or where you may expect the biggest changes in your personal life. So, for example, now that Uranus is moving into the sign of Gemini, it could be good for you to look at your birth chart and to see in what house Gemini is located. In other words, where Uranus will be located, because this area of your life is where you can expect big changes in the coming years. It's the area of your life where you can expect awakening and finding new insights, new wisdom, new ideas. And Uranus moves us forward with major leaps. So, this is what we can expect in the area of our life where Uranus will be located. Very important. Okay, we have also a full moon in Capricorn this week. And this will take place on July 10. And the full moon in Capricorn will activate themes around our career, but also the father figures in our life, the authorities in our life, and how we want to deal with responsibilities. And of course, the full moon activates themes that will be active for the months to come. So the next month will be a good time to focus on what we want in our career. Now, Capricorn isn't really a sign that likes changes because it usually wants to keep things as they are. However, there is a lot of ambition in the sign of Capricorn. So it could be a good idea to look at your career and to look at your ambitions. What do you need to fulfill your ambitions? And then we look at the 13th of July, because this is also an important day, because Saturn, the planet that reigns Capricorn, will be moving retrograde. Retrograde is, of course, when a planet seems to be moving backwards. And when a planet is moving retrograde, it always means that there is something from the past that is coming back into our focus. Sometimes it may feel as if we are taking a few steps back in time, as if something may be repeated that is from the past. And the function of this retrograde is that it gives us the chance to really process things and to see, did we really complete this? Did we really process all the emotions that were involved? Now, when Saturn moves retrograde, Saturn, the planet that has got to do with boundaries, structure, time, time structure as well, this will offer us the chance to look at how we deal with time in itself, how we deal with structure in our life, and how do we set boundaries? How do we deal with limitations? Because Saturn is also involved with limitations. Where do we feel limited or restricted? Again, Saturn is the planet of our career. And it could be that if you have made some plans around your career, that during the retrograde movement of Saturn, you may feel as if you're being slowed down for a while. And I would advise you to use that time where you feel that things are being slowed down, because it usually can lead up um, to reaching more goals career-wise. But things need some reflection. So this is what you may encounter during the Saturn retrograde motion. And what is also interesting is that when Saturn is moving retrograde, it will join Neptune in its retrograde motion as well. And remember that Saturn and Neptune are still in a close conjunction. And when they both are moving retrograde, it could be that themes involving boundaries and religion or spirituality both need some reflection, and we need to reconsider how we are dealing with religion as well as the boundaries or the authority figures, because I feel Saturn is often the authority figure, so it could be like a father, our boss, or the priest. And because Neptune is involved, I think this conjunction in retrograde may very well bring up themes around the authority figures in religion and in spiritual groups. And so it would be good to focus on that and to be aware of it. I think that's most important, to just be aware of it. Well, you see that we have so much going on this week. And I would advise you to take things slow, because when Uranus is moving into Gemini, we often find our life to be moving forward so quickly that we do need time to slow down now and then. And Saturn and Neptune can actually help us to do that, and to help remind us that we also need to relax when things are in full motion. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this week, and I hope to see you next time.